So before we get into anything on this topic, I want to lay the foreground of what it is that you've done until this point and who I understand you to be. So I've always found you as someone who is way ahead of the curve when it comes to being focused on your goals and really employing sacrifice and working towards things despite any outside external pressure to follow the crowd. Now, if any proof were needed to this point, it is the fact that you moved out to America to pursue your footballing dream when you were 18.
Yes, I was 18, yeah.
So talk to me about when you first decided that you wanted to move out to America. Talk to me about what your mindset was like when you got there, and were there any other sort of options as to what it was that you were going to do at that point?
Well, I think at first I didn't really think about it. An agency came to my team that I was currently at, and they suggested it, and I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe I should go, maybe not. But the way my footballing career was going at that point, I was in non-league, I was in the under-23 sides, and I was like, okay, let's have another challenge because I'm not pushing these first teams like I want to be doing. Let me go out to America, play every day like they promised me that I'd do, and get better, and then come back and see where I am or see where that opportunity in America even might take me out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I came back after 2 years playing out there. It was good fun, good experience, but I thought it'd be best if I'd come back and try and pursue, but whilst being a better player, come back to England and try out again.
So that going out there, having that experience of the different climate, taking on some challenges, and then you wanted to... So your plan relatively from the start was that you wanted to do that and then come back rather than...
Well, my whole vision is always to play professional football. That's all I've wanted to do since, I don't even know, as soon as I knew, about football, as soon as I was watching these players on TV, I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And I've had that mindset since, can't even remember, to be honest.
Certainly a long time.
Very long time. Throughout the whole time I knew at secondary school, throughout primary school before that. And I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I'll watch it. I'll literally live, breathe football. Coach it, I play it, and I just, want to play it to a higher level. And that's what I just keep striving every day to try and do, really.
Did you find when you were moving out to the uni in America, from my perspective, that's a tremendous change. Well, from any perspective, it's a tremendous change. But for me, that would be one that would be very intimidating. How did you find the mental hurdle of knowing, of course, this is something you want to do, and you know, as you've just touched on there, we didn't need that light anyway, that you this is something you want to do, and you knew that you needed to take those steps, but was there any fear attached to such a change?
Well, definitely. I'm a big family guy, big friend guy, and I just basically had to leave that all behind because I was just like, I want to be professional. I want to go to places. I want to see what I can do. And leaving my family, leaving my friends was very difficult. I did have one friend that I met on the agency that I went out with, and we ended up going to the same school, which was very convenient for both of us because we were both pretty similar people, had similar goals, and we definitely helped each other. So that definitely helped. But yeah, no, very, very scary for me, but also I think for my family as well. That I was going to other side of the world, 6 hours time difference, 7 hours sometimes, I think it was. And the way to communicate with your friends and family was very hard. And that it did decrease your kind of performance sometimes because you're just can't talk to the usual people that you would normally do. But yeah, it was hard, but it's hard for the first probably couple of weeks, but everyone you find out is in the same position as you.
Yeah.
You're around people who just love football as well, so easy to make friends. Your teammates, you play every day, you get to know each other, and then you make friends for life, which I still got now. And even some of them are still out in America, some of them come back, but yeah, you do make proper good friends, so they definitely help as well. So yeah,
I can imagine, as you said there, that there would be that really difficult teething process, but then, as you say, there'll be... How many people there were coming from all corners of the globe?
Well, literally, we say I just went to America. I was expecting Americans on my team, but I had a call with my coach. He's like, we have one American on our team.
Wow.
Everyone else is from different countries. You're all going to be in the same position, which was comforting from that side. I had players from Barbados, players from South Africa, players from Brazil, all over really, and players from Holland. But yeah, it was knowing that they would coming from the same position as me, very easy because they're feeling the exact same way.
And you understand each other as well.
Definitely, you both. All you guys want to do is play football to the level, whatever level. They might just want it to be for experience. They might just want to get better. They might have the same goals as me as going pro. And then you build very good relationships and friendships with people that you wouldn't have even expected to if it wasn't for football, basically. So,
I mean, I have to say I'm a strong proponent of when you endure difficulty with people, you know, when you find yourself in a position where you can both empathise with each other because you share a position of adversity, I think that immediately cultivates a better connection with someone.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The chats I had, like, we'd have roommates. So I was... you didn't have your own room. We were in this kind of building, and it was like there was doors opposite each other, and it was like a massive corridor.
Right.
And there was 2 people per room. So... you're never alone. Like, even if, like, your roommate might move out or you might go somewhere else, spend the night somewhere else, but you always have someone, or, like, if you just open your door, someone's right opposite you, someone's right next to you. You can just always talk to those people, and you build very strong relationships, like, very quickly, because you don't just see them, like, every day for work. You live every day.
Yeah.
You do the same life. You go to bed the same time. And then you just end up having deep chats with people that you would have not even met before. And yeah, you definitely build strong connections in that sense. So yeah.
In that first period of time where you said that you struggled and you knew that this was a really difficult position to find yourself in, you touched on there that you know, undoubtedly this put a strain on your relationships. How did you navigate that position?
Honestly, relationships with family, friends, girlfriend, very hard to deal with.
Yeah,
because you have to balance time. You're 6 hours behind, so by the time I've woke up, you're halfway through your day.
Yeah.
So, like, having to talk to your parents, having to talk to your friends, very, very difficult. You can't just, like, drop them a text and they're going to answer straight away because you'll be asleep or I'm asleep. So yeah, you managed the good friends you made here. You did end up drifting from. Like, it was so hard to message, and it was hard, but, like, you're making friends out there as well, so it's balancing out a little bit. And I was so focused on what I wanted to do. I wanted to play football. I was trying to get into the team. I was trying to score goals, trying to get assists, all this. But that's what I was fully focused on. And then I almost didn't forget about my friends at home, but I was just like, it's so hard to keep on top of, like, friends here, friends there, messaging them because of the time zone. That was very, very difficult, but you just had to, like, do it when you can. Like, every single day my day was pretty much the same. So in the spring, that was difficult, but they'd get us up stupid o'clock, like 5 a.m. We'd go into the gym. Once we'd done the gym, we go have breakfast, we go to our school, then we train at, like, 2, and then we come back. Because I was so focused after that training session, went straight into the gym with a couple of guys who had a similar mindset as me. And then we'd have dinner. And you're so tired after that, you just chill, you do a bit of your homework, and then you go to bed. And that's the same day every day. Some days in the spring, you don't have a gym session, you'd go out on the pitch very early. And it's constant. So you get tired. So even then, even if I wanted to message my friends, message my family at home,
social battery's drained.
You're so drained. You just want to, like, get any bit of sleep that you can.
Yeah.
Not just because you're tired. You need to recover. You need to do all the thing. You need to do your homework. And that was, as much as it wasn't that hard, you just, like, any chance you got, you just like, I don't want to do it. Like, there was people at our school that didn't do any sport, and they do the same courses. They have so much time. It's chill. And then you have teachers moaning at you, or teachers doing, like, why haven't you done your homework? I was at a game. We got back at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And it's like, I couldn't have actually done it. Like, I'm just tired. So social battery was down, but you kind of you're using all your social life like with all your players, with all the people at your school the whole time.
That's it.
So, and then by the time my day's done, it's middle of the night for you guys. So my day is done at like 6, 7 o'clock, midnight.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, can't even call my family, can't even call my girlfriend, can't even do all that. So it's just like, oh. And then you just have to literally find the smallest part of the day. So like, I'm eating lunch, I can message, I can call. And even then, you don't really want to do that when you're eating lunch, but it's the only time that you sometimes get. Or like, the football will be on, and we'd want to watch it with our friends, or we'd be playing football, or we'd be doing loads of stuff, or it'll be the weekend and you have a break, and then your team would be like, oh, let's go on a team night out. And I was like, not team night out, but like a team day out kind of thing. And I was just like, I just want to call people from home, really. That's all I want to do. Like, I spend my whole time with you guys. Can I take a step back and just call my family, call people that I need to call? And sometimes they're like, oh, no, you can do that anytime. They say that, but they're in the same situation. Their parents are like, well, why haven't you called for like a week? You're so busy. Yeah. But yeah, it was difficult. It was draining, but you just had to find like the smallest amounts of time just to message the people that you care about. And it was difficult. But yeah, you find little ways, and it's tiring, but you get through it.
I do think, as you just touched on there, you do sort of find a way. You know, at some point, this is why I think it's so important to know that what you're doing is what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're spending all of your time working towards something, there will invariably come times where you really question that process. You know, when you think, for fuck's sake, I can't even get 10 minutes in just at the end of the day to call because I'm either too tired, or I've got something to do, or I got back from a game, I didn't even have the time to do it.
Yeah.
That feeling of the sort of, I think when people set out to pursue their goals, to pursue their dreams, they sort of forget that it's still really hard. You know, you know, people, it's a quote that I fervently disagree with, that people say, if you find a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Yeah, you will. You will.
100% will.
And in actual fact, I would argue in some senses you will work more, because you have to work to maintain the love of the thing as well.
Exactly.
I have noticed with the podcast already, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I'm copping out now, I'm here for the long run, but I noticed that I'm thinking, now that this dynamic has shifted and I'm booking people, I'm talking to people outside, I'm meeting up, you know, I'm arranging meetings for people to come on the podcast and things, and among all the social media stuff, and I sat in here for about 8 hours on the last podcast between doing it and all the rest of it, and that's standard procedure. I'll be in here for that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely respect that, because you've got to put in the time and effort to what you need to do. That goes with anything. Like, if I was talking to anyone, whatever you want to do, you've got to put the effort in, and that's what it takes.
You can't avoid that.
You can't have all these distractions, or if you want to do something, you've got to just do it.
But that's the problem that I think people find, is their quotes like the aforementioned there sort of fail to touch on the fact that this is what you want to do. You know, there's absolute joy in pursuing for you football, for me podcasting. You love it. It's what you want to do, but it's still hard. You still got to put the work in. Yeah. And I think when people sort of look at it from the outside perspective and think, oh yeah, I'd love to be a footballer, and then they get in and realise that it's the 3 a.m. finishes, it's the not getting the time to speak to your family, it's the working all day. They don't realise what actually it means to put yourself toward the goal that you want. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, this isn't touched on enough, because people get in, they think, fuck me, I didn't think it was this hard, and then they quit because they didn't realise it was that hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't just quit. The amount of times I've been told, Daika, you're going to go pro. I was like, am I? So once I've been told that, I was like, okay, let me do it. People think I can. Let me do it. I've wanted to do it, but I know how hard it is. I'm not stupid. Every kid wants to be a footballer. You know what I mean? Like, every kid. And obviously I'm getting older. I am getting older, but like, still young. You still got the chances. It can happen just like that. Like, it can happen. But you've just got to keep doing the right things. Keep doing and keep playing keep playing your football, but keep also like doing the stuff outside. doing the gym, doing the recovery, eating right, not going to parties, or you can go to, like, obviously I'm the guy that doesn't, like, I'll sacrifice that, I don't care, like, I'll party once I've made it, you know what I mean? I don't want to like, if I could go to a party, or I could be at home stretching, making sure my legs are okay, I'll do that, I don't care, because that's my mindset.
Yeah.
I don't drink, I want to keep my body, like, as healthy as I can.
Certainly a good step.
Well, yeah, but also it helped that I didn't really like it, so
Yes.
I don't like it at first. So I'm like, why push myself to try and like it? Or, like, obviously, everyone's, like, gone out before and just seen what it's like, but I've realised very quickly, hold on, everyone's doing this.
Yes.
I want to be somewhere where not everyone is.
And
so
that's a fantastic point.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I keep saying to myself. That I tell myself every single day, just in my head, I'm gonna go pro, just every day. You've got to kind of be obsessed.
You have
And
to be obsessed.
I've been obsessed for ages. I'm just waiting for that time, but also not just waiting. You can't just wait, but doing everything in your kind of power to make sure you get there.
Yeah.
Going out to America probably slowed it down, maybe, not in my ability, but my opportunity wise.
Why do you think that is?
So, I've come back to non-league now, and they're like, I've emailed clubs. They're like, oh yeah, but we need your non-league experience, kind of thing. A lot of the high non-league clubs pick players from who have had experience in the non-league, have had experience at higher leagues, and the teams I especially want to try and get into, they even pick players from, like, the pro leagues to come down.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how am I going to do it if I've spent 2 years away and all of a sudden I have to start again, kind of thing. And it's just like, you need the coaches and the right people to trust you, because as much as I haven't had the experience because I'm a young player, with the right coaching, you can handle yourself in non-league.
Yeah.
So you need the right people, but being 2 years out of the game in England probably meant that I couldn't build up a reputation in England. I built a reputation out there.
Yeah.
And then coming back, they don't, not that they don't care, they think it's cool, but they don't know how I play until they offer me, like, a trial, whereas they just bring in people that they know all that are already good. And you can trial. I did trial for teams, and I got in. I was at step 4, offered, like, first team, like, in pre-season, and I was like, can I train with you guys? And they were like, nah, stick with the 23s. I was like, nah, like, I strive for better than that. I'm like, either put me in your first team or I'm going to try and go somewhere else. It happened, went down, step 5, got a team there, in and out first team, not playing as much as I'd like, but I know the level and I know that I can play higher. So I just got to find the right coaching, keep doing what I'm doing, and see where it takes me.
I have to say, and that's the bit I want to add, kind of cross these 2 points that we've just gone over, and bring them together. That difficulty that you're finding as a result of putting yourself out, acquiring that experience, but realising now that it's sort of it's propped you up, but also brought you back in some senses.
Yes, it definitely.
How with that being the case, do you continue to have your perspective on not wanting to be someone who goes to the parties, not wanting to be someone, because it's very easy when things are going wrong to sort of fall into those places because everyone else is doing it.
Exactly. Well, it's not going perfect right now. It's going good.
What do you mean, not going perfect?
I want to be in a better team, basically. I want to keep going higher. I'm never happy until I'm pro. Whether it's low-level pro, but I still want to get, like, I want to be as best as I could possibly get to.
Yeah.
And with the right coaching, with the right training, I definitely have the mindset, mentality to do that. Whether I have the ability, that's for coaches to, like, believe or not. I reckon with the right kind of attitude from a coach and from me, I could definitely get there. But you've got to just keep maintaining, like, when you're obsessed with something so much, whether it's going bad or it's going good, you're always going to strive for that little bit more.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that where I've come from America, and I'm happy that I've stepped into the non-league, stepped into the system, but I want more.
Yeah.
It does come with time. It comes with good performances, having good stats, but also getting seen at the right time.
Yes.
You can't, like, there's an element of luck, yes, but I don't like saying that because I believe that if you're really good, you're going to get seen.
You force your luck.
Yeah, you force yourself into a way to get seen.
Yeah.
Whether that's if I'm not playing football, if I haven't made the squad, I'll still make sure I'm playing football on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Whether it's for a worse team, I don't care. I just want to play and just better my game, whether it's at a good level or at a slightly worse level. I don't really care in that sense because I'm always trying to maintain my level. As much as it might seem a little bit selfish, but I think you've got to be that kind of, you have to have that mindset because you've got to want to be the best to see how far you get.
Yeah.
I've always been obsessed with being the best. Hated losing. Hated it. Mate, school PE, hated losing. School sports day, hated losing.
I can testify to that.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, you've just got to have the right mentality. And I think you've got to be...
just before you make that point, can you just turn a bit toward the microphone?
Like this?
Just rather than that way.
Okay, yeah. You've got to be, like, obsessed with what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Be competitive. I think the problem I'm having at the moment is going into the non-league system, and because I haven't had a lot of experience, it's very new. Very new, as in, like, it's very new in the sense that I haven't been here before, so let me test it a little bit, and then I realise that even if I'm doing well, the coach will recognise it, but he still might play, like, people who are still doing well, but I want to be, like, recognised as well. But they're still doing well, so it's very competitive.
Yes.
And I'm willing to keep being competitive because that's what you've got to do. You've just got to keep wanting more. And then eventually, like, I'm going to strive to be the top. And if I don't make quite the top, obviously be annoyed, but I might reach, like, just off the top.
As you touched just before there, it's the top of your game.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
You don't want to leave anything on the table.
Exactly, yeah. So it's the top of your game. So I've got to see where I could possibly play.
Yeah.
I don't know that yet. I think you can throw me into whatever level and I'll struggle definitely if it's right at the top. But I like to think that I could adapt and just see what happens. But if it's not for me, it's not for me. But my whole life has been, it would be silly, I think, to be like, nah.
Yeah.
Like 21 years of my life, I've been like, yeah, football. It would be silly now to stop.
Yes.
Because I think I'd just be like, I've never had that mindset. I've never been like, yeah, let's stop. Because, no. As much as how hard it gets, like in America, it got hard at times. Like I was playing, then I wasn't playing. But you still got to want to do well. Because if that's what you want to do as a job, and you don't want to like do anything else, you've got to be obsessed. So,
and that's exactly the word as well. It is obsession. I think it's such a funny thing when I think about sort of that obsessive mindset. If you're someone who works towards something and you're really there for it, you know, it is the thing that you live and breathe.
Yeah.
It's not always the happiest place to find yourself.
It's not,
but it's also this sort of like compulsion to be excited by the prospect. It's like, you'll notice, I find this, that even something will go wrong and there's sort of like a brimming excitement behind it because you're like, it's gone wrong and I'm still obsessed with it. I still want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously you have your bad games, you have your good games, and that could happen in anything in life, whether I'm talking about someone who doesn't like football. Maybe whatever job they're doing, they still like it, they still want to do it. You've got to, like, want it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just kind of half on it.
You cannot half-arse it.
You can't, because there's going to be people who have the same interest, they're going to be going all at it.
Yeah.
That's why I see myself as, like, no distractions, no kind of like doing the stuff people do.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
the easy stuff. Like, oh, Daika, do you want to go out? Do you want to go out on Friday night? Like even as the team. So even if I'm on a team that are decent in like the league, or like even if they're not as good team, oh, Daika, do you want a drink after? Daika, do you want this? No. Like, as much as you might say, oh, Daika, yeah, why aren't you having a drink? Come on. No. Like, I think they don't realise, they see me as a good footballer, but they don't see the vision that I have, as in, I'm not drinking that because I know there's people out there that aren't doing it, and they have the same dream and same aspirations as me.
It's a bit of Mike Tyson aspiration there.
Kind of, yeah. Well, I don't know these quotes, but yeah, like you've got to think like, if someone has the same dream with me right now, are they doing something that?
Yeah. It's constantly those little wins over each other. That's just that point I made there. Mike Tyson used to go running at 5 a.m, and there's videos of him doing it.
Yeah.
And he was asked why he goes so early, and he said, because my opponent's asleep, and any win that I can get over.
Well, there you go. Yeah, exactly. And that's how I felt actually in America. Actually, when they got us up, I was like, oh no, what am I doing? Why am I lifting weights at this time? Like, is this actually good for me? As much as you were tired in the gym, as soon as you'd finish, you'd feel so good.
Yes, and you do.
Mate, like, you're waking up and the sun's, like, you've done the gym and the sun is rising. Like, most people are asleep. And that felt good. I liked it. And I strive to do that now. It's harder because you don't have to go.
Yeah, the system's not in place.
Yeah. I had a system, get up now, go to the gym.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have it. You have to tell yourself to do that. I'm not saying I do it every day. I'm not saying I go up every morning. I want to do that. But I still make sure I go to the gym every day. I still make sure I play football. I also coach it. I want people who have the same dream as me, because obviously there's people that are going to have the same dream. There's going to be young kids that are going to have the same dream. So I coach a little like skill school on a Saturday. And I make sure that these kids are doing the right thing. They're only small, but make sure that they're doing the right thing, having the right mentality, and just enjoying it. That's the most important thing as well. They've gotten to enjoy it at that age. So it's just live, breathe football, really.
I think that point you've just made there about enjoying it, you said specifically to the age. I'd argue that's transcendent. I think that's 100%. Across the board.
Yeah.
I noticed that point on obsession that we've just gone into there, I think, as we touched on the sort of doing something that you really love to do, you need to do something that you do love to do, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be work. I noticed that it's choosing what you're happy to spend a lot of time doing.
Yeah.
It's what you can do more than anyone else, you know, and you can't do that unless you genuinely enjoy it. I noticed I used to do music. This was at one point my music room.
Okay.
And I noticed that I was constantly looking at the time because I didn't...
Time's a big thing.
But I couldn't get away from the time. I would look at it and go, how long have I been in it for? How long have I been in it for? Because I knew that really, when it boiled down to it, I thought essentially I liked music. It happened to get me out of a very difficult part of my life.
Yeah.
And I knew that it had a career path. So I thought, all right, go for it. And then, as I touched on there, you get into it and you realise how much work it takes.
Yeah.
You realise all of the things that you have to confront. For me, I am by no means a socialite. As my inherent response to interaction is one of discomfort. I know that it's hard for me to do.
100%.
And I mean, when you put that onto the space of performing on a stage, fuck me, it was absolutely mortifying for me.
Yeah.
This is not the same thing. I notice with this, don't get me wrong, every single time someone comes in here, I'm anxious before they're coming in here, hours before they're coming here. I'm anxious when we start, get comfortable by the end. But I know that I can bear this feeling because I love this. This is what I want to do. And I'm happy to endure the pain. I think people choose to endure the wrong pain.
Yeah, and I think as soon as it gets a little bit uncomfortable, they're like, they're gone. You've got to be uncomfortable to then get comfortable. I think that's what you've got to do.
That's exactly right.
Like, I'm uncomfortable as in the sense, like, I'm not fully comfortable with where I want to be, at the level I want to be at. I'm uncomfortable, like, in the sense that I'm still playing football, like, I love it, but I want to be somewhere else to be a bit more comfortable. Not just like obviously financially, but mindset of that young kid that wanted to be pro. The young kid that told his mum, Mum, I'm going to be in the World Cup. I'm going to be in the World Cup when I'm 16. Obviously didn't happen. But that kid had that dream since then.
Yeah.
I just, like, you see those videos, like, don't let that kid down.
Yes.
Like, you've seen them.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of think about that. Like, me as a kid was so wanting to be that pro that, I just see it now and I'm like, make that happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen and do everything you can to make it happen.
It's you've put the time and the effort in, the investment is there, and you can't. I think that's a beautiful part of hard work is once you're there, and I would argue a lot of the time when it comes to hard work, you can go quite some distance before you realise, fucking hell, I'm on the grind.
Yeah.
You know, you can sort of fall into it sometimes.
Yeah.
And there definitely comes a point where you've just been working at it for too long. You've been working at it too hard, and you just think, I don't have a way out. I can't. And you don't.
Yeah.
It's not even like you're trapped. You don't want to. I notice it with me that on a broader scale of just self-improvement, working towards the best version of myself, when things go wrong, it's impossible for me to be derailed, even if things go really wrong sometimes, because I just think, I've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
I can't. There isn't a way out. It becomes, and you will know this fantastically well. It becomes who you are. It's no longer Daika who plays football. It's Daika sort of is football.
In a way, yeah.
It becomes you.
Yeah, it does, because if it's what you just strive to do, you have, like, it's part of your life completely. Like, you're constantly thinking about it. Like, I'm constantly thinking, what can I do? Like, even if I don't know, it's like, what can I do now? Should I do this? Should I email this person? Should I think, though, where I fall into a trap, not in a trap because I haven't done it, but I don't put myself out there enough. I'm very resolved. I'm very, like, grind in silence, which might not be the best thing nowadays. I definitely know, and I know the power of social media.
Yes.
And I know this is what you're doing now. It's great. It's going to put you on the map. It's going to do stuff. It's not that I'm not confident enough to do that. I don't know why. I just don't. I don't do it. I think it might be because I'm so focused on doing this, I don't video it. But I know it's something I need to do. I know I need to put myself out there. So then coach is like, who is this guy? All I've got is like a little highlight video. And some people know me, like, in the sense like, you play football, but where? Like, a lot of coaches don't know where.
Yeah.
Like, how long have you played football? Like,
you need to make it easy for them.
Yeah, and I don't. And that's probably a problem that I need to kind of fix, and not sure how to go about it. Instagram maybe, but might need to spend more time on it. I just don't. I'm not that much on my phone. That might be the problem.
Do you think as well, just on that point, I've noticed this, that if you're someone who recognises those states to avoid, like the parties and in this instance scrolling on social media, do you think it's sort of, if you just don't touch it at all or relatively at all, you don't have to worry about falling in kind of slipping the slope? Yeah,
maybe. I mean, yes, I obviously scroll and I see stuff and I go on TikTok, this, that, and I scroll, but I'm not one of those people who have my phone on me, like, all the time. Like, the coaching job that I do, you can't really go on it. You can't obviously go on it when you're playing, when you're training. So I'm very rarely on it. So that might be, like, something that I might... Not that I need to do, because I quite like not doing it. Like, you end up... Because obviously I came back from America. I didn't lose my friends, because I still keep in touch, but... You get... Well, they're at uni as well. They go, like... They come and go as well. But you come back, and I found myself... I was very on my own. At first it was hard, but then you're like, I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy my company because you can fully focus on what you want to do, because you get into that age where, hold on, I need to start making money. Because I don't like the fact my parents sometimes pay for me. I don't want that. I want to have my own like income. I want to have, but mainly through football. I want to just do that. And as much as it's hard, because obviously getting paid through football, you need quite a lot of money to obviously not have another job. So I do the coaching on the side, and it's still football. So as much as when I'm coaching kids, so I coach under 16s, but I also coach like younger ones. I'm still thinking about when I'm coaching these, maybe I should take on my own advice, because I might not think about that. Like I coach these kids, telling them what to do. Might come to a match day and I might not even do that.
Yeah. We're fantastic at giving advice.
Exactly.
If we could just listen to our own advice.
Yeah, do we even listen? Yeah.
Much happier.
Yeah, it would be easier. And then sometimes I think about that and I'm like, just do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like I said, confidence, I think that's a good topic, is massive.
And I think just on what you've just said there, I think isolation or controlled isolation is a great way of cultivating that. Because I would say, I mean, I don't even want to know how much time I've spent on my own in the last 3 years. I've spent more time on my own than a significant amount of people. And in that, it's sort of, don't get me wrong, there's some negatives that come of that.
100%.
But that assurance that you have in yourself as a result of that, because you're comfortable with yourself, you know that you're not someone who's swayed by other people so easily. You're in control, I suppose it is.
Yeah.
And I think people avoid that isolation because isolation sounds like an uncomfortable word. But in actual fact, you have to, it's inevitable that if you're working towards something of value, you're going to spend a lot of time on your own.
Yes, yeah, you are. And that did happen. I mean, I came back and I was like, hold on, I don't know what to do. Like obviously I had the same mindset of wanting to do well, wanting to do this, but how? Like, do I have people with me right now? Because I've just come back from America. Didn't keep in touch with my friends that well. Kept in touch with my family. But they know my goals. They've known my goals since young, and they support it.
Yeah.
They obviously know how hard it is, but I think they know that I know how hard it is.
And just before we move on, I think that's a key point. That's certainly a string to your bow, that you do know how hard it is.
100%. I know it's very easy to say like, oh yeah, Daika wants to go pro. Does he even know how hard it is? Yeah, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I know how hard it is. Like, honestly, the small percentage that make it it's incredible. Like, it's tiny. Obviously, like, I know even the small amount of academy players that made it, I was never really in an academy. I always was just off it. Like, I was pre-academy. I strove to, like, get academy trials. They're like, yeah, we'll give you academy trials. Didn't get it. So, and then I got older, went into men's football at 16, and then was like, oh, this is a different game.
Yeah.
Different game. Where do I go? I can't dribble through people that I used to. I couldn't run through everyone, do what I want, because then I'm getting clamped. Then you get injured. That was a big part of my career as well. Got injured bad.
How did you deal with that?
So when was it? January 2020. So it was the year I went out to America. It was that January. So I went out in the summer, broke my leg.
Was that when you were... I didn't know that was when you were at uni.
Yeah, so I broke my leg in sixth form. So I was it was a year... So I went out in the August of that year, and I did it in the January. And I was like, I'm meant to be going to America in August. I've just broke my leg in January. It was actually a water injury. It was like I was just playing Sunday League and keeper. Snap. Like, studs up, straight in the leg, throw on goal, snap. And I was almost like, hold on, what has happened there? Like, I was like, that's a hard tackle, but I was like, hold on. I got up and I kind of walked a little bit, and I felt like it was like a click, like clicking. I didn't like scream in pain. It was like, that's why I was like, it's not broken surely. But it was the start of the game, so I was adrenaline. Walked off the pitch on it, sat down, adrenaline worn off, so much pain. So much. And then went to the hospital. They were like, yeah, you fractured your fibula. And I was like, what? No way. And that puts you out for at least 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks for the bone to heal. But what happened to my leg was I was on crutches. They said you can normally walk on it, but I found out very quickly when I got to hospital, put some weight on it, just folded. And they were like, oh, you need crutches, because when you have a fractured fibula, it's normally lower down, and mine was high up. And they were like, no, you can't walk, so you need crutches, you need a boot. And I was like, I just want to play football, and this has happened to me. Like, what? I've never had a major injury like that. So dealing with that was very, very difficult. Like, what happened was I wasn't just out for 4 weeks. Like, the bone had healed, but when you're on crutches for that long, the muscles in your calf just go. They go like jelly. And I had to build the strength up again, and that took time. So I was out from January till, I think my first game back was April, and I still wasn't confident playing. I was like, this could happen again. It
Still
happened
had that
so
residual
easily.
feeling.
Yeah, it happened so easily. What's going to happen? Obviously, you build that back up, and I didn't think it would happen, and it didn't happen. And I went out to America fit. Like, it still felt a little bit like, confidence-wise, I was like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, that was very difficult, but mentally, because if you think all your whole focus is football, suddenly it's stripped, and you're like, what do I even do? Like, I was at school at that time, so it was a bit easier because you have your friends at school and you're still focused on your schoolwork. But yeah, very, very difficult. But I think you just got to, because I was so focused, went to a physio. They told me to do these exercises, did them religiously every day. If I forgot and I was going to bed and it might have been like late at night, I was like, shit, didn't do my exercises today. Got up and did them at like, I don't know, 11:30 at night, just doing my exercises in my room. And that, I knew it would get better. Mentally it was hard, but I was like, people recover from these. So I always had that in my head. So that's how I helped myself. I was like, it'll get better, it'll get better. It felt like it didn't, like it was taking forever, but it does. And then, you just got to hope it doesn't happen again. Which it did. I didn't break my leg again, but when I came back from America, I went straight into pre-season. I was fine, I was doing good. First game of the season, I played for an under-23s team. I think it was 25 minutes in, hamstring tear, straight away. And I was like, I never felt so much pain. I think it felt worse than my broken leg. And that was in August, and that set me out for ages. That was longer. That was like, not football for like 10 weeks. And it's not even perfect now. I can play on it and I'm fine, but you can still kind of feel it a little bit. And it's like, I think I got told that you just overstretched it. You're all right. You'll be out for 2 weeks. I was like, hold on, physio, this still hurts. Like, what is going on? Yeah, and then I went to another physio, and they were like, yeah, you had a grade 2 tear. I was like, what? What do you mean? And they were like, yeah, you need to do these exercises, and you need to strengthen that hamstring up right now. And I was like, okay, all right, cool. And just made sure I kept doing those exercises, and then I was like, I can't keep getting injured. Like, what's going on? I look after myself. I do it, but I think what happened with that hamstring when I was playing too much. So I was doing something like small-sided, like 6-a-side. I was doing training, and then had a 23s match, and then I'd have a match on a Saturday, and then they'd be like, oh, do you want a Sunday league? I was like, yeah, all right, Sunday league. So I did that, and it was too many matches, and then hamstring just went, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe let's still have the same mindset, but cut some football out.
It's that mindset, though, that we touched on earlier, that obsession that gets you to play that much football, because you feel if there's and you get into that state where you think, if there's ever a moment where I can do it, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. You think, as you said there, you said it perfectly, you live and breathe it, and at that you always breathe. You can't help but think, if there's ever an opportunity for me to do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah. How did you find knowing, because it's sort of a totally different sort of discipline at that point, that now you have to be disciplined enough to not do it?
Yeah, well, that is very difficult, because then you're like, oh, I'm cutting out football, that means I'm not playing as much, that means I'm not getting better. And it's like, hold on, like, I need to I need to kind of sacrifice some football so I can play at a higher level on my other ones. So it was difficult because I still enjoyed it. I still loved it. But it's still that mindset of wanting to, hold on, I might need to sacrifice this so I can do better, so I can get seen doing something else. So it was difficult, but still constantly of wanting to strive to be better. If that's going to make me better, I'll sacrifice it. So that's what my parents had a lot of say in it as well. They were like, Daika, I know it's your dream, but you are playing way too much, like way too much. And I was like, am I? Because I think there's people playing more than me.
That's where that mindset devolves and becomes counterintuitive.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't want to stop. Like, it became very obsessive. I was like, I don't want to stop. And they were like, yeah, you need to focus on this. You need to get a job. Well, get a job. I did. But they were like, yeah, stop playing. Like, focus on the good level. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. So I did listen. But I only just started playing again, like, not so long ago. So if some, like, my mates go, do you want to play six-a-side? Yeah. Yeah, I do want to play six-a-side. Should I? Probably not, because I get absolutely hacked at six-a-side. But it's still fun, and I still see it as getting better. It's more training. Even if it's like I'm playing at six-a-side and I'm, like, not playing with, like, players that are a decent level, I still, like, I want to get better. I want to still work on my skills.
Just keeping sharp.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd explain to my parents that I'm just keeping sharp, just doing this. And they're like, yeah, but you're gonna get injured. And I was like, just stop saying that. But yeah, no, it does become difficult. Just gotta keep doing it, really.
The conqueror's mindset comes with no off switch.
Yeah.
You can't be obsessed some of the time. It's the nature of the game.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I want to touch on something that affected me as a player, 100%, is confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence, well, that definitely makes a player or breaks a player, pretty much. Like, if you don't have the confidence to do what you want to do because you've got your teammates shouting at you, you've got your coaches shouting at you, you've got people telling you to do something that you wouldn't normally do. My advice to anyone out there, listen to yourself, but also listen to people, but don't let other people's kind of actions or, like, the way they speak to you affect how you do anything. Like say if someone's talking to you about your podcast and they're trying to, like, downplay it or, like, do something like this, you can't listen to that, because as soon as someone says, like, I might get on the ball, I might do a bad pass out of play, yeah, you're shit. I'm not. Like, you've got to say I'm not. You can't let it get to you. And I think when I went to America, it happened because I didn't get called shit, but I got made to feel like, hold on, I'm not the best player that I was. I wasn't the best. I came out there and I was like, okay, I need to actually proper work to be the best here. I can't just be the best.
You were no longer the big fish.
I was no longer, like, everyone still had my, like, there was similar, obviously everyone was similar ability, but I was like, hold on, I had to work a bit here.
Yeah. And
that shocked me a little bit, I think. And then I might have not got picked for a team sometimes, and I'm like, hold on, I thought I was better than him, and he's getting in on me here, so I might not be as good as I think. Gets to your head.
Yes. You
get on the pitch, and you're like, whoa, I'm not playing how I normally play. And I think that happens with anything, like, any level, like, it affects the way you play, it affects the way you do anything in life. Like, if you're not confident in what you're doing, you're not going to be as good.
You can't be.
You're not going to be, you're just not. And I think it happened to me, and then it happened to me, and I was like, oh, why am I playing, like, nowhere near as well as I normally do? Because you know when you're playing good and you know when you're playing bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on? And it was confidence, because I was like, I think I used to play in a way that I just didn't care. I would just play off instinct, kind of thing. Now, well, not now, not so much now, because I know what I need to do. But in that part, I was trying to get through the confidence stage. I was worrying about, I should definitely pass it here, or don't lose the ball, Daika. Like, I control the ball and it's like, hold on, I can't lose it here. Whereas before, I'd be like, I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna go to goal. I'm gonna go score. That mindset was no longer there. It was like, I was like, oh. Then you start doing things that you don't normally do, and then you lose the ball or you lose confidence and you just keep possession, and it's just like, it's just boring. Like, you wouldn't normally do that.
It's self-perpetuating. You either 100%. Do exactly the thing that you hoped you wouldn't do, or you do something that is just reserved, and
exactly,
it's not bad nor good, but in your position, you know you've got the talent and you want to show the talent. You don't show the talent when you just pass it backwards 6 yards.
Exactly. And I think to get over that, you've just got to think, you've got to say to yourself, I'm better.
Yeah.
I'm way better than that. You've got to say, like, I'm not, like, I don't know how to explain it. You've got to be, without being, like, stupid, you've got to be kind of confident in what you're doing, in the sense that if you get the ball, or if you're, I don't know, if you're on your podcast and you need to do something on it, you've got to be confident in your decision. You can't, or play off, like, your instincts. I think that's a major part.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that helped me 100%, because the decisions you make on a pitch it's adapted by, like, what everyone's doing around you, where your teammates moving, where the opposition's moving. So thinking that, oh yeah, just to stick with what everyone's saying, oh, pass it backwards or pass to the side, pass forwards. Yes, that might be the right decision, but would it be what you normally do? Because normally, if you were so confident and you were playing well, you'd do the right thing most of the time. And suddenly that wasn't happening, and I was like, oh no, how am I going to get out of this?
Yeah.
How, like, I don't even know what to do. And you've got to get through it, but not listen to, say, if someone's calling you, like, oh, you're not doing good, or the coach is like, you're right, like, what are you doing? You can't listen to it.
You have to trust yourself.
Yeah, you start listening to it, and what happened to me, because I was very new to the environment of where I was, I started listening to that. I started listening to every little thing, and I wasn't listening to the good things. I got told good things so much. The bad things played on my mind all the time. And then it decreased your level, 100%. But you've just got to listen to the good things as well. You can't just listen to the bad things and just expect, oh, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Because you constantly keep playing those bad thoughts in your head, and it's just like, it's not the way to work. But yeah, just listen to the good things, I think I'd say. Whether it's in football, whether it's in podcasts, whether it's in anything.
Yeah, this is... all of what you're saying is transcendent beyond football.
100%. And I think you've got to kind of, like, listen to others, but listen to the good and the bad. But when someone's telling you something bad, or, like, critiquing you, it's got to be, like, for a good reason.
Yes.
Not to put you down. Because a lot of people do that just randomly.
Intentionally.
100%. Intentionally, like, because I was in competition, people be horrible. People aren't nice. People be like, yeah, you're doing shit there. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? And it's not like something, oh, Daika, you could do this. You should have passed there. That would have been so much better. Like, yes, I'd listen to that, but then the other thoughts of people calling you names, or people doing horrible stuff, or, like, I don't even know how to explain it, like, if they're trying to downplay you, it's to try and put them up.
Yes, it's advantages. As you touched on there, you're in a competitive atmosphere. These people don't care about you.
No, they don't.
They've got their own goal. And unfortunately, it's where that conqueror's mindset can do you a lot of favours, is when you realise that people are in this for themselves. You know, people want to get their own.
Yeah.
And on that point, you go get your own, you know, and you
Exactly.
be aware. This is, as I say, this is why I'm such a proponent of being in your own company a lot of the time, because you develop an understanding of what it's like, as you touched on earlier, that selfish aspect of I will do whatever I need to do to be ahead of you. And unfortunately, particularly in sports, it's gamesmanship. It's
100%.
just, I will do whatever I can to get it one over you. If I go every time you get the ball and it makes you...
Yeah, exactly.
People do it.
And it happens, like, there's so much stuff that happens on the football pitch, happens in life, people are stepping on your toes, people are like... So say, if I could relate to football again, like, men's football's different to, like, youth football. I used to be youth football, everyone's nice, everyone's, like, respecting you, kind of, oh, yeah, you're a good player. They won't even try. Like, I get the ball and I dribble, and I know the person next to me's not even trying. Men's football, ref's not looking, stamping on your heels.
Yeah.
Pushing you when the ref's not looking, elbowing you.
Kneeing you in the head when you're sat on the floor.
Exactly, and it happens because ref's not looking.
Yeah.
They don't care, gamesmanship. And it's little things like that you've just got to get used to. But it happens, and it happens definitely if you're going from youth football into men's football. It's a hurdle you definitely have to get over. And then you realise it happened, and then you start being that person. I saw myself being that person. Not, like, horrible, but obviously in the game, like, gamesmanship kind of rules. Like, you've got to do that to one-up your opponent as much as... And then, after the game, you're fine, you're chill. It's not real life.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you've got to be... The most successful people in the world, do you reckon they were the nicest? I don't.
No, I mean...
I reckon some were very selfish in what they needed to do.
I think, see, this is the point. I'm going to sidestep it just a touch, with a bit of understanding for the psychopathy that's rife at the top of the trees. Selfishness is a very... what would the word be? People do not constitute selfishness as a good thing. If you say someone's so selfish, it's inherently a bad thing. No one ever says, "Oh, you're so selfish."
Yeah.
You know, I would argue, maybe selfishly, that selfishness in moderation is a fantastic thing. Now, I to this point, I think that if you've got yours the way that you should be, and you're happy, and you know that you're striving towards what you want, and your house is in order, you can show up for the rest of the world in a much better way because you're okay.
Yeah.
And I think selfishness is something that is critical for this point. That, you know, it's sort of, it's not perniciously selfish, but it is selfish to say, hi friends, I'm not going to go to the club with you because I don't want to. I would rather do what suits me. It is sort of, by its root, it's selfish.
And a lot of that happens. That happens to me, like, Daika, why aren't you going out? What are you doing? Like, have some fun. And I'm like, I can have fun. I can have fun with you guys in the day. If I want to spend time with you, if I want to, we'll go play football at the park, or we could just go hang out, get food.
Go for a walk.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
Just go for a walk and just talk. Like, I'd prefer that so much more. As much as it's maybe fun in the moment, yeah, every now and then you go out with your mates, you have a drink. I get so much more out of kind of my time, but I enjoy it so much more on getting to know kind of my mate on a walk.
Yeah.
I love doing that. Not like with my dog.
Yeah.
Go walk my dog with my mate. Chill. Like,
it's not that sort of artificial knowing of someone. If you're in a club with someone, even if you're hugging each other, so, oh, I fucking love you, mate. Yeah. It's not. You don't know that person.
Yeah.
You're just, as you said there, you're just in that moment. And I think that's a key point here of when you have to be careful not to be swayed by that crowd, because they will say, oh, why are you not? I thought we were friends. Yeah, we are friends, but we don't have to be friends in that atmosphere.
And we don't have to have the exact same interest.
Yeah,
like all
absolutely.
The time. You can still be interested in what I'm interested in, but sorry, mate, I'm not interested in going out.
Yeah,
like
we
so
don't
many
have to
people
align
go
on
out.
Every point.
Yeah, so many people go out, and I just look and I'm like, I mean, people could be watching this and be like, oh yeah, he's a bit of a, like, I don't know, like, bit of a wimp, not going out. Like, what are you doing?
Incel.
But, yeah, like, mate, it's me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather, I don't know, like, invite my mate round and, I don't know, play darts or something.
Yeah.
Have a good chat,
Quality
go
time.
on dog walk. Yeah, like, I don't want to go into a place where, not that I don't know anyone, like, obviously I know my mates that are going out, but with random people, like, drinking until you get, like, battered with your mates. And it's like, obviously it's fun in the moment, and every now and then, like, it might be a good thing to do occasionally. And every week schedule, that's when you get into the trap of people doing what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I did go out, like when I first turned 18, and I was like, let me experience it, I want to experience it. And I saw these people out, and I was like, do people do this every week? Because I couldn't. That's why I didn't go uni either. I went to America and played football because I know the exact life uni's like. My parents were like, yo, uni's the best time of your life, you have so much fun. My version of fun's different.
Yes.
It's so different.
Yeah.
My version of fun is not going out, drinking, partying. I might enjoy it, but every now and, like, every week, no. Every, like, few days at uni, no.
Yeah.
That isn't the best days of my life. The best days of my life are making sure that I set up my life for the future. As much as it might seem like, why are you thinking about that so young?
Because you get ahead of the game.
Yeah, what did the successful people do at their young, like the young successful people now, or like the 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds now? What do you think they did? Do you reckon they just messed about at 20 years old? Probably not.
Yeah.
They might have done, they might have got lucky, but I
Well,
don't think so.
Or they might have been late bloomers to it. Plenty of people.
People realise,
piss about,
100%.
And then at 30, they think.
Yeah, they switch on. They're like, hold on, but I'd like to be as early as possible. Like, people say, yeah, enjoy your life, go enjoy your time. I don't enjoy that. I don't. And I think a lot of people quickly realise that, though. You notice now, well, I don't know, but some people go clubbing and like, oh, my clubbing days are done. People say that. My clubbing days are done. What, how old are you? Like, so you're still in your 20s. But they've realised. Like, is it the best thing to do? Yeah, every now and then. Every week, every, like, few days. Nah,
It's too much.
You can't do it. But that's not, clubbing is not just a distraction. Like, any little part, like, that you're doing something that you shouldn't, like, obviously you can have a rest, but anytime you're probably doing something that you could be working on yourself instead, or doing something, time is very important in that sense.
Now, I just want to highlight that before I want to get on to that point, but I do want to say, just to round up what it was you said there, people saying, oh, these are the best times of my life, or, you know, go and have fun. I'm having fun. Yeah. I feel as though I'm making something. I feel as though I'm doing something that's right for me. I think there's sort of this thing attached to hard work that it can't be fun. It is. Trust me, it is. When you realise that you get those times when you think, you know, whether it's when you're running at exactly the time you shouldn't be, when it's pissing it down, or you're working at exactly the time no one else would be, you get those moments when you're like, shit, I'm doing this, you know, and that feels fantastic. And I said on the podcast that I last did, I spoke of what would you rather regret not doing? You will come to a point in your life when you're 50, 60, 70, whenever, when there's something you regret. What would you rather that was? Would you rather it was, fuck, I'm still working at 75 because I decided that I was going to spend all of my spare money on drink? Or would you rather it was, do you know what? I probably didn't have as much fun as other people did when I was 20, but so be it. You know, I think you can't have it both ways. And I mean, you did touch on there, and this is an important point. People think you can never do these things. Not at all. I am a advocate, to be honest, of that you spend most of your time the way that you should. Yeah. And then you do some fun stuff. If you don't do the fun stuff, it all falls away. Of course. And I I will die on that hill. If you never go out, or you never, and going out doesn't have to be going on the bevies and going straight for it. It can be just going and doing just chilling out for the day.
Doing something that you don't normally like.
As you just touched on there before we link it in, that it can be a day where you just go out for lunch, go see your friends, go to a movie in the evening, or and then maybe go out for some drinks afterwards, maybe.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a full-blown balls to the wall sort of affair.
Yeah.
Just on that point, because I think this would be an interesting one for you and I to debate here. You just spoke of those micro moments where you make sure that you make the right decision in the small, as in the micro as well as the macro. Talk to me about that.
As in, like, so you want me to say, like, if the decisions I make in a small moment?
You're talking just what you said there about doing the right thing. This speaks not just of the grandiose night out, avoiding that. It's also making sure that in those small day-to-day moments that you're doing the right thing.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, you've still got to do the right thing in the day, and make sure. I think you've got to have set goals in your head.
Routine.
You've got to have a routine. Once you've done your routine, if you think you can do more, go on, do a little bit more. But if you need in your routine that time of rest, whether that is going out. If it is going out with your mates, having a few drinks, that could be yours. I personally just like to chill. I like to chill, stick on the TV, watch, I don't know, whatever. Yes, I would. I like special occasions.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I haven't seen a few mates in a while, I don't drink, but special occasion, and you got to like have fun in that sense. Yeah. I'll do it for a special occasion because I know it's something I don't do. I do it once in like a while, but like it has to be special. But for me, that's how I set my routine. Like obviously people have different ones, but a special occasion, it's not like I'd completely like stop it, like, oh, I'm never ever going out ever again. It's not going to be true. But a special occasion with a few mates I haven't seen in a while, and I'll do it once, every now and then, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But you still got to you can't let it become a thing that you keep doing, because then you start messing up your normal routine. As long as it doesn't get in the way of your normal routine, I'm for it. I'm all for it. But you've got to make sure you're doing the right amount of your actual thing that you want to do, because there might be someone else doing more, and then they're the people that get there. So it does come in moderation. Like you've got to find a balance, but you've got to have that rest time. You've got to have that chill kind of mindset off it a little bit. As much as I'm still thinking about, oh, I'm going to go pro, this, that. You've got to have a time where maybe you're not thinking about it, because sometimes if you're so obsessed with something, you overthink. And I think that might be happening to me, and I might need to chill out a little bit in that sense, and maybe I do need to spend a bit more time like with my mates or going out and just chilling a little bit. Obviously not all out party, but just take my mind off it a little bit, go back to it and find a little cycle. Maybe that's what I've just found out just right now, actually, because I was so obsessed. Like, so I'm still obsessed, obviously, but like, find a balance.
Yes.
100%. And I do that, but maybe just a little bit more. Maybe chill a little bit more. It's
a wonderfully difficult balance to strike. I notice, I mean, my understanding of this balance is that it's sort of it's forever changing. My conception of this balance, and how it seems to work pretty well for me, is I go way too far and then something falls away, so I put a bit more into that, and it's constantly like this. It's never in the middle. I notice I'll work way too much, and then I'll bring and something will fall away, and as a result, it's not so bad nowadays because what I do in terms of work is very social, but I'll notice that I'll spend loads of time studying and I'll become an absolute fucking troglodyte, and I cannot speak to people. I really struggle. Just as we touched on earlier, is that sort of the same balance or the same discipline of not doing the exercise when you're injured or when you're going to be injured from doing it? It's the same balance or the same discipline of not doing something that you want to do. I find that the reason I wanted to make the point of it is I noticed that obsession, as we said earlier, is not always a good thing.
No, it's not.
There really can have times, and I know this comfortably well, where it's so ridiculous, the obsession, where it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, I'll find, I mean, I don't know whether I've got some form of sort of OCD shit attached to this, but I'll find if I don't do this amount of work in particular and then more, I'll think, oh, you're not who you used to be. You know, all of a sudden I think it's falling away, and I notice that, and that's a big part for me, is I notice I'll go out on a night, I'll enjoy it, and all of a sudden the day after, you know, I'll think, God, I didn't work last night. Is this the beginning of the end? You know, am I falling into the normal?
Well, as long as it doesn't happen like consistently, I just think once in like every now and then you're fine.
That's
like,
right, but the problem I find is that obsessive mindset inherently the obsessive mindset has no balance. It's obsession. It's not. It's not a balanced perspective, and that comes into. I notice with the most minute of details, I'll think, like a conversation like this, I will be comfortable and happy with what I've said.
Yeah.
I say one thing wrong, and I'll think, am I as good at? Can I really do this? And it's to such a small extent. Now, that mind means that most of the time you do marvellously well.
Yeah.
You do exactly what you need to do. You stay away from the things that you don't want to be a part of. But calling back to that, it's not always the happiest place because it's not peaceful.
No,
you know,
it's very it's tiring.
Yes, and it is tiring.
It's very tiring. Like the constant on your mind of wanting to succeed, and that's not just with football. That's with just. You want to be fine. Everyone wants to be successful, financially stable.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants that.
Of course.
But that might be on more people's minds than we think. Like it might not just be us. There'll be a lot of people out there who are kind of struggling with the same kind of obsession of want. I think that's everyone. I think everyone wants to have that financial stable kind of life after they've stopped living with their parents, and I think you need to obviously you need to find the balance of the obsession, and it's very hard, like you said, because it's an obsession. Like there is no balance, but you've got to kind of take a step back and just think, hold on, I can still do what I want to do, as well as just taking this like chill out time, like. But yeah, it is difficult. It's very difficult.
I think it comes to that, as you say there. Now, I would say I want to sort of orient this just quickly toward a more positive side of this. I think you do over time sort of begin to know yourself on this. I notice now that I've been doing this for such a long time that I know when I'm just being irrational. I know when my mind is being the way I can look at it now and go, I'm thankful for this being a part of my psyche because it's made me happy. Yeah. I'm happy and that's a point I want to really make aware. Is this difficulty absolutely breeds happiness. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. You will understand this perfectly well. It's not always peaceful. It's not always happy. But I would say, and I've said this recently, I would say I'm probably more stressed than a lot of people and more anxiety riddled than a lot of people. But I would wage I'm happier on a day-to-day basis than most people.
Yeah. And I honestly, I'd say I'm very similar to you in that sense, 100%, because I think it's if someone really wants something, I think you end up feeling the same. You kind of feel trapped in the sense that you kind of feel, hold on, am I doing the right thing at the right time all the time? But when the good things happen, when your podcast does really well, or if I do really well in football,
Hang on, let's just say you used an inevitable word for me and an if for you. Let's.
Oh, okay. Well, when we both do what we do, when that happens, it's a very good feeling, and you
Absolutely.
strive to get that feeling again. And I think that then comes with the hard work. You become uncomfortable again, but then you get that good feeling, and you keep striving for that, and then success comes. So I think doing that really, you might be uncomfortable in the process, but you still got to enjoy the process and what you're doing, and then it will breed results, and then happiness comes through that.
And it's everlasting happiness as well. You
100%.
know, when you go out, you will be happy for that night. You'll enjoy it. But fuck me, I really don't want to know what it feels like to wake up one day and think, I never tried. I never did what I should have done.
I hate that, yeah.
That would terrify me.
Yeah.
I actually remember writing an entry in my diary that was quite depraved on that point, because I am terrified of that.
Yeah.
And I think I sort of have to learn to shift this so that it works well, because I think a lot of people know that hard things are hard. You know, that's
people know.
I'm not going to get any awards for saying that, but I think it's not necessarily cast enough light upon that. It's a fantastic feeling. It's a wonderful feeling to know that. I mean, just before anything, when you work hard at something, you know you've worked hard.
Yeah.
And that eradicates so much anxiety, because you think, I mean, I've found this, that I've sort of been trying to find the level of work where I can feel sort of, for lack of a better word, enough. You know, there is a threshold upon which I think you've done enough work where you can't possibly sort of kid yourself into thinking you've been lazy today.
Yeah.
That mindset does come with its troubles, but when it is fulfilled, and it does get fulfilled, you learn how to control it. When you fulfill it, it's a wonderful day-to-day experience, because your quality of life is so much better.
Yeah.
I think the value in discipline and in taking yourself seriously, and in knowing that you've sacrificed things, knowing that you can endure pain, knowing that you're taking yourself seriously.
Yeah.
That is untold amounts of value there. And though it sits on the other side of a tremendous amount of hard work, that hard work is worth doing. And it's not always as hard as you think it is. I would say, on what we touched, you said this earlier, it becomes you. It is who you are.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's no longer so hard to do the workout in the morning when you always do it.
Yeah.
It becomes, it's just what you do.
It's routine.
It's hard to start, and there will come times when it presses you more, because you think, fuck me, I've done this for 800 days in a row now. And they'll be like, well, I've done it 800 times. Do I need to do it today? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
But most of the time, once you're in, the things you think are hard, they aren't as hard anymore, because it's you.
Yeah.
You've done it so many times that it's just not as hard.
Yeah, it's not hard. And people think it might be like, it's all it is just a little obstacle in your day.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like, some days you wake up and you're like, oh, I do not feel like going to the gym. I don't. But you did it yesterday and you did it the day before. You might not feel like it today. Still go. Still go. If you're not feeling great, do something a bit lighter.
Yeah.
Just
that
still
moderation.
go. Yeah. Still go. Still have that discipline, because I found it with the gym as well. I started going since I got back, and I know it's definitely a part I need to work on in my game, because I need to get bigger, I think, especially in the non-league. So that's what I started doing, and I was like, okay, let me keep doing that. Let me do everything I need, eat the right way, take the right stuff, and just become a better version of what I need to be successful on the football pitch. And I think that's what you need to have. You just need to have that discipline. But obviously when you're not feeling it, just still go. Or if it is really bad, obviously don't. But like still do something.
Yeah.
Still do something to keep yourself kind of, I did as much as I could.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly
and then
it.
still have that balance of, okay, yeah, I do need to chill out. I'm ill. Like, chill out. But yeah, I think it's just it's an obstacle in your day. Like I said, like you've just got to get through it, and discipline is very hard sometimes. But if you're willing to get somewhere, discipline is key. You can't be inconsistent, because as soon as you, I don't know, as soon as you kind of get out the loop, like I was going to say actually, I go to the gym each day. If you miss the next day, so easy to miss the next day. Yeah. I missed yesterday. I can miss today.
Yeah.
And it happens. And I know it happens to a lot of gym goers as well. They're like, oh, I'll just start my routine or my normal schedule next week. Okay, now you've missed 4 days. And it's like, oh, did I need to miss 4 days? So yeah, having a clear set routine helps. But obviously within moderation, like we said, because obviously if you're ill, just chill out.
I think that's where the shift in the goalposts is important, where you realise that, or moving the goalposts, you can't always perform to your optimal level.
No.
There will come days when you're ill, or you have, life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
To put it frankly,
Yeah.
I've noticed recently, sometimes you're just like, fuck me, you're in America and you just don't have time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, you know, and it's not the folly way of going, oh, I didn't have time, but I watched 28 hours of TV this week. Sometimes you don't have time. It just hasn't fallen into place. And it's so important that this is where I think you need to become really understanding of yourself, know who you are, because it's at this point when, if you can rationally look and go, I really wasn't well today, I couldn't have gone to the gym. I just wasn't well enough.
That's fine.
When you can understand the difference between, and this is perennially difficult balance to strike, of knowing that difference between I really couldn't and I just didn't want to.
Yeah, and exactly. I think that's the path people fall into.
They make themselves believe that they couldn't. You could have.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you just need to, because that's what people do. They find the way where they're like, oh, I can't go.
Yeah.
But why? If you're ill, then fair enough. Like, okay, yeah, just go another day, or go when you feel better. But a lot of people go, oh, I didn't have time today. But you're still scrolling on your phone.
Yeah.
You're still watching that TV. Like, you could have gone. You sat on your phone for 2 hours. What could have you done instead? But yeah, like, that just comes down to mentality and discipline, and obviously it happens. Some days just happen like that, and you're like, oh, I actually could have gone, and I just scrolled on my phone. Just the next day, make sure you don't. And just realise.
Yeah, and realise that's exactly it. I think what we've touched on there is just honesty. I think honesty is a critical part of becoming a good person, because with that, if you can have a really open and honest conversation with yourself about what it is you're doing and what it is maybe that you didn't do, that's where that growth is, because then you open up that avenue of conversation to go, do you know what? I could have gone today and I didn't. Why didn't I? Because I was being lazy. All right, fine. Some days are like that. Just go tomorrow.
Yeah, make sure, just don't fall.
And that's James Clear says that doing the wrong thing once is a mistake, doing it twice is the beginning of a new habit.
Mm-hmm.
When you can have that honest conversation with yourself, it changes the dynamic entirely, because you know when you're lying to yourself.
You do.
And that guilt comes in. You can deny it all you want. You can say all of the things. You go, no, I really wasn't well. My leg was 90 degrees or 90 millimetres the wrong way today.
Yeah.
And you can bullshit yourself as much as you like, and it will come across in the rest of your life. You'll feel less confident. You're lying to yourself. And when you open up that channel of communication that is grounded in honesty, and you go, fuck it, I'm human. I make mistakes sometimes. I was just lazy today.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's I think this is so important for people to hear, that you can make a mistake. You can do the wrong thing one day, or you can go to that party and think, fuck man, I really shouldn't have gone today.
Yeah.
You can do that, and so long as you learn from it,
that's
it's fine. It doesn't matter.
If you learn from your mistakes, it's only if you just keep doing them.
It's not the end of the world. People catastrophise mistakes.
Like, mistakes are a key part to success.
Absolutely.
100%. Like, you've got to realise what you're doing wrong, in order to get better, because they're always just going to keep doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. But you have to be honest with yourself that what you're doing is the wrong thing, not lie to yourself.
Yeah. You can't lie to yourself saying, you're making a mistake, but I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because you've got to realise that sometimes people help you, and the nice people help you, and they'll say, actually, don't do that. They won't, like, the horrible people might be like, what are you doing? Like, they're like, a nice person will go like, oh, don't do that, do this instead, because you don't want to fall into that habit of doing something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to learn from your mistakes, and like we said, mistakes are a key part to your success, because as soon as you know you've done something wrong, you know the right thing to do after that. You actually go, oh, don't do that, do that. And then all of a sudden you've found something that you shouldn't do, then found something you should do.
You're learning along the way. I've coined a phrase as of recent that one of the best ways to learn something is to get punched in the face. Now, I notice I've got this from when I go to training. Obviously, I'm by no means a wonderful martial artist by any stretch of the imagination. And I noticed that when I started sparring, you get punched and you think, right, if I just put my hand up there, or if I just didn't stand right in front of him with my liver totally exposed, that wouldn't have dropped me on the floor. And you realise at that point, you made the mistake of letting that hand go and you got punched in the face for it. So now you go, right, I'm going to keep that hand there. I'm not going to do that anymore. And you can't help but people avoid mistakes like the plague, because it's quite a horrible feeling. In this instance, getting punched in the face is quite a horrible feeling. Yeah, people don't like making mistakes.
I was going to ask that actually, because I'm really interested. I mean, obviously you've come to talk about me, but I'm very interested in your Muay Thai or like the martial arts that you do, because when I was with you at school, it's nothing we did. Yeah. We just played football at lunchtime. And we just chatted around like in school at lunch and just did the not like I never thought you'd go into this kind of martial arts. Just tell me like how you got into that.
I appreciate your interest.
No, I am, because it's just like it's something I didn't think that you'd do, but I am interested in it, because I always tell my mum, like, Mum, I'll just get into boxing, like just to scare my mum. Like she doesn't want me getting boxing, but I was like, I think it'd be really good for my football. Like I'm interested into how you got into it, and like. Yeah, and what it's like, because I find like it's something that I'm interested in. I wouldn't get involved in it, but I'm very like interested in the martial arts kind of industry.
Well, first of all, the very thing that got me into it was the very thing you thought would keep me out of it. From about 20... to be honest, for my entire life, in fact, until probably 3 years ago, I was plagued with ego. I was ego-driven. It might not have come across to you, but I mean, I don't know. But it absolutely was the case. I couldn't have a conversation without it being totally revolved around me. I was obsessed with attention, and I wanted people to go, wow, look at him, isn't he so cool? I was totally ego-driven, really ego-driven. And I noticed, I mean, there came a crunch point when this devolved into a real bout of self-hatred, to be honest. And I realised, I thought, who the fuck are you to think, what is all this ego about? And that sort of gradually started to fall away. And I started to realise, why do you have such an ego? What have you done to warrant this much ego, where you think you can just walk around and talk to people like shit, or keep your chin up all the time as though you're something special? And I came to a point when I thought, what am I really scared of doing? What would terrify me to do? And one of the things, I sort of had this, and this is probably strange for people to listen to, but I had this perennial fear of getting beaten up. I thought, and it was directly linked to my ego. It was because I thought I talk so much shit. At some point, I'm going to get in some position where I'm going to say something slick, and someone's just going to knock me on my ass. And I could imagine how deflated I would feel from that. I thought, I mean, I really didn't know what my mind would be like if that happened. I thought that could really put me in a really bad place. And I thought, you're going to have to face this. You can't just keep being egotistical and arrogant until the point when you get sat on your ass.
Yeah.
So I went into a fight gym. I had a good friend of mine who I've had on the podcast called Idris, who is a trainer at a Muay Thai gym. And I sort of got speaking to him after Ethan did Muay Thai long before I did, and he inspired me to do it for a start. That sort of brought the thought into play. And then when I was speaking to Idris, he said, oh, yeah, because I sort of said, oh, I'm thinking about doing it. No, I had no idea he was involved in it. Right. And he said, oh, I'm a trainer down at the gym. Come down to the gym. A few weeks later, I came down to the gym. Was absolutely terrified to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that must be like, especially if you don't like the kind of fighting aspect of anything, and then you get involved. Like I was similar to you. Like I wouldn't really like to do that either, but facing that I think is really, really inspiring. But
thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think I'll be interested in it. But I also don't like the feeling like you said of just being battered, being punched in the face, being sat on your ass, kind of thing.
Do you know what? This is the thing that it's such a difficult thing for me to sort of voice to people that aren't in an understanding of it. And the annoying thing is you don't get an understanding of it until you do it. The amount of value that there is in confronting that. Yeah. I notice that on a day-to-day basis now, I'm far more confident and I'm more humble as well.
Yeah.
You know, I am now humble to the point where if I call myself humble, I think I'm being arrogant. You know, and there's an untold amount of value in facing that. And I think as well, when you realise, it's sort of just armouring yourself for life. When you realise that if something happened, of course, you don't look for it. But if something happened to go wrong, that you'd be okay. You know, or that you'd be at least somewhat okay.
Because you have this type of training.
Because you're all right. Yeah. Or, more, I mean, an important point, you can see whether something's a problem. You know, you can see whether someone's just puffing their chest out or whether someone wants to fight you.
Yeah.
You know, and you can see the difference. And you get yourself out of problems as a result of that. You just feel more confident in yourself. And I think the amount of confidence that comes from knowing, just putting yourself through it more than anything. You know, I will never forget that feeling in my chest when I walked into that fight gym because it was awful. Really, really I mean, I didn't cry on that day, but I well could have. Yeah. And I noticed the first time I went sparring, had it not been for a compelling effort to not cry in a sparring gym, I would have cried. Because it's hard. It's really hard. It's
scary, like first
and it
time.
Is scary, and that's it. And it's scary as well. And this is why people don't do it. It's it's such an irritating thing to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I totally understand it, but it's so irritating for me to think. I'll see people that are genuinely scared of things that they shouldn't be scared of. And you think, if you just knew just a bit, just something, because let's not forget, most people know fuck all about this because most people are scared. Totally understand that. But if you knew just a little bit, the complexion of your mind changes tenfold. It puts you in a position where now, you know, if you're someone like me, or if I'm someone like you who has that destructive ego, dissolving that is critical. Because, I mean, the ego in itself, the ego is an illusion. The ego essentially is an idea that is proposed to us by our psyche to keep us safe. It makes us think that we are something. We're not that something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why so many people think they can fight with no reason at all to back that up. Because you don't know. Your ego tells you, oh, I'll just see red, I'll be all right. Yeah, no, you'll see red and blue in a fucking ambulance. Your ego tells you something that's not the case. And when you go in a fight gym and you get punched in the face, you realise that it's not that way. You're not so precious because we've got this centre of the universe sort of complex to us. You know, you experience the world through you. It's people take the piss out of the phrase "you're the main character," but you are the main character. It's your life.
Yeah. As
a result of that, we often think we're impervious, or we think that people care about us more than they do. They don't, and that's. I don't want to say it's not a bad thing, but it's the truth. And at some point you have to be aware of the truth. You can't just protect yourself and hope the world is ideal, because it's not. I'm a massive proponent of, don't show up somewhere without knowing something if you could have known something. If you had the opportunity to be well prepared for this position and you're not, it's your fault and you're going to pay for it. It's just armouring yourself for life.
It's like going to an exam, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
go to an exam without
going to an
doing
exam
anything.
and you haven't done any notes, and that feeling, and you're like, oh,
Fuck.
I did not do
Yeah,
that.
and you know, and
you gotta
imagine
wing it.
and imagine the difference of imagine thinking I've got to wing it in a car park with 10 gypsies.
Exactly.
You know,
You're like, oh shit.
it's different. It's different, and I just think, and I have to say, I need to make a point of what it does to the complexion of your mind on a day-to-day basis. It's not just in the gym. It propels you forward in your understanding of yourself. You know where you stand, and there's an untold amount of value to being in a fight gym. I will die on that hill. Don't get me wrong. I go twice a week. I do jiu-jitsu once and Muay Thai once.
Okay.
So I don't do it anywhere near as much as people do, and I'm not interested in fighting. I want to do it for fitness and for the mental aspect that we've touched on there, and that's essentially it. I want to know that I'm someone that does it. I don't want to do it for a job. You don't have to do it for a job. People don't realise that the bar is so low for this, that if you went once a month, you'd be better than most people. Easily. I mean, it takes more than that, but it's worlds ahead.
Okay, yeah. That is cool, because I was thinking, like, I've never, ever, like, my whole life has been, like, obviously just football. Yeah. Just sports. Like, obviously, like, the school sports, you did, like, cricket, and you sometimes did other sports and stuff. But I never thought that boxing or martial arts or any type of that kind of sport I would be interested in. Because, well, one, my parents were like, you don't want to get battered. You don't want to get battered. Like, you don't want to look like you've got bruises on your face all the time. And I was like, yeah, but surely that's not the only reason people do that. Like, I think that to myself. I was like, obviously these people don't like getting hit in the face. Like, obviously not. But it's probably doing... They say, oh, yeah, you'll get brain damage, you'll get this, that. I was like, oh, yeah, all those stories. But the mentality that you get, and absolutely. The kind of, like you said, like the kind of like you get humbled, but it strengthens you. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay. Whereas I've never experienced that kind of fight gym kind of experience. I'll be on the pitch, I'm protected. I'll throw my arms, but I'll like get into a fight when there's a fight on the pitch. If I've met them in person and there was some big guy about to beat me up in an alleyway, mate, I'm done for. Yeah. But yeah, like, but I know on a pitch that you're just protected. So fun. Yeah, I'm chill. Like, if he hits me right now, okay, yeah, he's getting a red card. Cool.
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah, works for me.
I mean, that in itself, though, that speaks of how comforting is that feeling of protection.
Very. Yeah.
That's the feeling you get. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, people testify to this all the time, that even people that are masters of martial arts are scared to fight someone in the street because you don't know what's going on. You know,
mate, they could have anything.
You don't know what's going on there. Yeah. People are still. You should. If someone says, "Oh, I'm not scared," you're lying. You know. I mean, even that in itself. You know what to do if you need to, but you don't want to have to do anything. No one, particularly, this is why you see almost invariably people that get in fights on street corners don't know what they're doing, because they don't know they don't know how horrible it is to be in a fight. When you go into a gym, and just before I make this point, most of the time if you spar someone, you won't get hit very hard. A lot of the time it's light sparring. You won't get hit very hard. You know, you get hit. Even if you do get hit hard, you get used to it. And if you get punched in the face, you will only get brain damage if you get punched in the face a lot, for one. And people, this will sound funny, it doesn't hurt that much getting punched in the face with a 16-ounce glove.
Oh, yeah, with the gloves, yeah.
It doesn't hurt that much.
Yeah.
You can get over that. But people get in fights because they don't know how shit it is to be in a fight. When you go to a sparring and you put yourself through it, fuck me, you're not in any interest in getting involved in that. It's horrible.
I was going to say, what's that like?
You don't want to do it.
How does that compare? Obviously, I haven't been in a fight. I don't know if you've been in a fight, but how does sparring compare? Like, because obviously, a spar is like, it's like a fight with another person, but it's a lot, it's obviously controlled.
Yes.
And there's no bad kind of hatred between you two, so it's obviously there. But, like, I was thinking, how does that compare to, like, because can you not control your anger? Like, if I get punched in the face, I want to get him back so bad. Like, I would punch him back in the face. Like, probably a bit angry from me as well. Like, I didn't like that they just did that. How do you kind of control yourself in a spar setting without... Because I feel like, I don't know, if I'm getting hit somewhere that I don't like, mate, I'm throwing it all at it. Like, not as in, like, start a proper fight, but I need to get one back on it. How does that work? I don't know how that works.
It can be hard. It's where the ego is dissolved because, for one, I mean, mine sort of leads more towards, if someone hits me, I'm more inclined to feel upset by it than angry. I'll take it personally, but sort of it upsets me.
Yeah.
Or if I punch someone else and I land well, I'll feel bad.
I think that's exactly, if I were in a spar and that had happened to me. They're just another human being.
Yeah.
They feel the exact same way. You don't want to inflict some pain on someone.
And I've noticed that on the other end of that, I have sparred with people where they
don't care.
I've sparred with some people who it's supposed to be like sparring and they start peppering you and it's fucking annoying. Yeah. It's when you think I've come in here like sparring and you've put your full force into that kick into my leg. What I'm thinking, it's really annoying and it's bad gym etiquette. But when that happens, it goes for me at least, it goes one of two ways. You either control that and just keep doing your thing and know that, sometimes people just do it by accident. Sometimes they don't, they try and throw it and they're in the zone and they didn't mean to do it that hard. Or
I guess normal gym etiquette, they'll just apologise.
People do a lot. 99% of the time this doesn't happen. For the very rare occasions where this happens, most of the time, even in that 1%, people go, sorry, you're right.
Yeah, you're good,
and just stop. For this very, very small amount of times when someone doesn't do that, it goes one of two ways from that point for me. You either go and you're pissed and you throw some pretty good punches, or you go, you leave your guard down and you get hit again. And when that happens, that's those moments where that ego comes down to where it should be. Because then after not very long, you become comfortable with that happening. Someone will smack you and you go, all right, no problem. And you'll stand there and you'll go again. Now, I speak from limited experience and more so with sort of taking my limited experience and applying that to what I've heard other people say. Because as I say, I've done Muay Thai for probably about a year now, let's say. I started in January and then I restarted again in July. So coming up, if we probably 10 months, just for argument's sake. And I've done jiu-jitsu for 4 or 5.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of experience, and it's a really funny point on that, because some people will go, you've been doing it for a year and you don't have a lot of experience. This is where it becomes...
That's not a lot, though.
It's not a lot, but this is where you start to realise where that bar is. Because most of the time, there's a trainer in my gym called Andy, who's fantastic. He really... brilliant trainer and an excellent person as well. He said something to me that I'd never thought of until he said it. He said, you're being here with guys that... because it's a fight gym. He said, you're being here with guys that do this every single day, that are professional fighters, and you get your shit... you'll get punched, and you will have obviously come off on the wrong end of that. And he says, you guys will think, if you're not as good as someone else, that you're bad. He said, go out there and be what you are against someone who knows nothing, and it will look the same way.
Yeah.
You know? And it's... I noticed by about 7 months of doing it once or twice a week, I was starting to look and go, all right, I know I can definitely throw a punch, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a sort of strange phenomenon that on one front you think, fuck me, it takes a long time to be good, but on another, it really doesn't take long for you to reap the rewards of your efforts.
Yeah, I was gonna say that must be very demanding on your body though.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
100%.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Mate,
Even in moderation.
Mate, I come off the pitch like this week. Obviously, shouldn't really do it. Played 90 minutes. So I played a 90-minute on Friday, 90-minute Saturday. And they were like, my body's aching right now. But getting punched, getting kicked, throwing punches, throwing kicks. Surely you're aching all the time. Bruises. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. How do you kind of get through that by like, you're getting battered? Obviously, I'm like, my football, my aches and pains, they go. You're actually like fully like bruising yourself. Like, what makes you feel like, hold on, like, is this too demanding on my body?
You'd be surprised actually how demanding punches are on your body. That doesn't hurt, and it never did.
Yeah, but it just comes up like, yeah.
When you get kicked, even if you get kicked, if someone kicks you there, full pelt, it hurts.
Yeah.
But it stings.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt for a very long time.
Oh, okay. What about in the morning?
No, most of the time not. The only injuries, I mean, at the moment, I've got 2 injuries. I'm pretty sure, very annoyingly, I thought that my toe was okay until I kicked a football, and I thought that's not okay. Yeah. And this was a few weeks ago now. My toe is probably one good kick from breaking, I think.
Okay.
And that there from throwing left hooks is strained all the way up. So it's the same sort of things you'd get in football, actually.
Yeah.
Of a lot of the time, what you'll have that is... Now, as I say, caveat, I do not speak from someone who fights. You know, I don't know what... If someone's fighting properly, they're going to have plenty to disagree with me on here. But from small time use or activity, you don't get injured very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Most of the time, it's repetition that does it. I can't do, because I work on Mondays and Wednesdays, I can't do those sessions. So the only one that opens itself up then is the Friday. Now the Friday is best part of 2-hour session, and I noticed I used to do the Friday session, and I'd come away from it injured almost invariably because it's so much repetition, and it's the repetition. And I noticed that getting punched, getting kicked, you won't get injured very, very often by that. Both of the injuries I've got now are not from that.
Okay.
But repetition the same way with football.
Yeah.
And it does. I'd like to make you the podcast guest rather than the podcaster back for a moment.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's very difficult, I find, with the discipline of particularly of martial arts, because it sort of opens you up to that feeling of weakness or avoiding weakness.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to sort of rationalise with myself of the last few weeks I haven't been going to training because I'm injured.
Yeah.
And I noticed I did some training on Tuesday and I felt for it. And to come to yourself and go, look, there comes a point when if you throw that leg, you're going to break that toe. And if you break that toe, you're out for 4 weeks or whatever, you know. And it's so annoying with that because it's just enough of an injury for you to for it not to be wise. Like earlier, you're not injured, but if you carry on, you're going to be.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
And you get that value attached to it. That's the point I'd like to make here of, do you feel that your sort of value as a person is attached to your output? Can you sort of, you only give yourself the credit or the good feeling or just the general liking once you've done the work?
I think so. Like, obviously, when the hard work starts paying off and you start seeing results, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm that type of person. If I'm not seeing results, I'm not satisfied. Like, I probably should be, because I should be happy with myself that I'm very disciplined enough to do the gym, do the extra training, do everything I need to do to better myself when it becomes a match day, and then I don't score or I don't play well on a match day. I'm like, what? I've just put in all that effort all week, all the previous weeks, and I can't do well in a game, and I'm doing more than the people on that pitch.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? So I only am satisfied when I start seeing results, which might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. It's probably a bit of both, but I think, yeah, you do need to be happy with what you're doing, and satisfied, as I say, by like, be satisfied that you've gone to the gym and you've worked on it and you've gone to training and you've worked on your weaknesses to try and bet yourself in the game. If it's not coming off, it might just not be your day. It's just unlucky. But I like to see results. And then once I see, like, 'cause you know when you go to the gym and you're just trying to like transform your body, I'm trying to get bigger. I don't notice, because you don't notice, because it's like, it's just your body. You see it every day. You see it in the mirror. Am I getting bigger? I don't know that. But then when you see someone else go, oh yeah, you're getting bigger, you're like, oh, someone's realising. I didn't realise that myself, because you don't know. You really don't know if you are, because it's like, but when personal trainers ask you to take progress pictures, they ask you to take a progress picture of when you start and like 6 months later. In that 6 months later, you might not even notice a difference between yourself, and then you look at that picture and you're like, oh shit, I have.
Yeah. Undeniable proof.
Yeah. But like, I didn't do that. I haven't taken pictures of myself. I still feel like, hold on, have I even put on any muscle or done this or done that, or I've done this extra training, is it actually improving my game? So once I start seeing results, that's when I'm like fully satisfied, I think, yeah.
Do you meditate?
I don't, but I've seen a lot of videos on it suggesting that people should. But I have been interested. I actually said it as a joke, kind of. Not even as a joke, but I was like, Dad, I'm going to start meditation. It's funny that you said that, because I said that like not even like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I'm going to do it. And he's like, what? Why do you want to do that? Like those people that probably like cross their legs and do that. I was like, yeah, like why not? Let me try it. I haven't got around to doing it, but I've heard it does really good things for people mentally. I might try it, but yeah.
Allow me to sell meditation to you.
Have you done it?
I meditate. I've meditated for. I've done. I think it's 15,000 minutes of meditation.
No way. Like how? Like every day before bed, or when you wake up, or when?
It's cycled through years now, so I've been doing meditation.
Did you do it when we were in school?
No.
Okay.
No. The person that you know in school and the person that sits before you are very different people.
Well, I like both of them, so it's fine.
Thank you very much. But no, I mean I've meditated now for 2.5 years.
Okay.
Pretty much every day.
Like in the morning or what?
Well, this is where it's been changing. Is initially it was just in the morning, then it became just at night. No, then it was first at night to start. Then it was in the morning. Then it was both. Then it was one or the other for a bit. Now I've made more of an effort to make it both, because I noticed that before I go into why I think meditation is something everyone should do or at least try.
I want to try it, definitely.
It's the first thing that falls away when it shouldn't. Now,
Right.
because it's so simple, or to master it isn't, but to do it is, you think, like today, in fact, I thought, I've got a lot to do today. There's things that need to be done. There's things that I've pieces are moving, plates are being juggled. Don't have time to meditate.
Just find a spare time, yeah.
Fortunately, I did meditate. I thought I'm going to stop, and because you think, I'll do it another time. Don't need to do it. When you're not doing it, you realise how much effect it has.
I was going to say, what's it like?
Meditation is one of, I think, I can shout from the rooftops when it comes to things like reading, writing, cold showers, Muay Thai gyms. I can speak avidly on these points and provide them with the appropriate praise, but I don't do it when it comes to meditation, and I really should, because I noticed that until you meditate, you don't realise what the world around you is, in some sense. You don't pay attention to the world. Most people, and it makes absolute sense, will go through their entire lives without really knowing where they are. You're sort of on autopilot.
Yeah.
You're just going through the motions. You're thinking about things all the time, particularly in the Western world. We spend our lives thinking, I've got to get there, I've got to do this, always in a rush, always doing something. Meditation is, I don't deem it any coincidence that it's an Eastern practice, is the panacea when it comes to just slowing you down to the right pace, to making you really aware of where it is that you find yourself. I think a lot of people will claim that they are depressed or anxious or any other thing, when in actual fact they just haven't put themselves in the right places. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who are clinically depressed, and for that I cannot comment. There are a lot of people that just don't do the right things.
Yeah.
They just live a life that is a fertile ground for depression, because depression's not a thing that some people have and some people don't. Everyone can get that.
Yeah.
And it comes when you're doing the wrong things. I would argue vehemently that when you meditate, you begin to become aware of parts of the world that are overflowing with joy that you spend most of your time neglecting. I notice that I'm far more likely to go on a walk and just, first of all, before I get there, I shall answer the question, what is meditation? Because I think that's a good ground to sort of base
because
it on.
explain, because obviously I know what it is. Like, I've seen people do it, and I've seen like people talk about it, but I've never actually understood, like, what do you think about in the moment? How long do you do it for? Like, so, I don't know.
Meditation, there's this common misconception that you have to be the shaved head monk sat on a hill in the Himalayas,
cross-legged,
with a big gong. It's not the case at all. Meditation is essentially, now there are various different ways to meditate, but Vipassana meditation, which is what a lot of people will do, is just following the breath.
Okay.
So what you would do is you would put your meditation app on, or your timer, or whatever it is that you do, and what your teacher will tell you to do is just to notice. Now, that can come in multiple forms. What is most common, and what will be what you notice or what you're told to look into when you first start meditating, is to be aware of your breath. So what you would do is you will breathe in, and you'll notice where the breath is coming from. I listen to Sam Harris, is my meditator, and he will say to be aware of where you feel the breath. So you might feel the breath in your nostrils as you breathe in, or you might feel it in the rising and falling of your chest or your abdomen. You notice a point on which your breathing seems to be coming from.
Yeah.
At that point, you focus on where that is coming from, and that becomes, each breath you just focus on that one particular part. You focus on breathing in, noticing the rising and the falling of the abdomen, breathing out. You continue to do that. Now, what happens at this point is invariably you'll go off somewhere else. You'll be sat listening to your breath, and all of a sudden you'll be asking what time dinner is, or you'll be it is, even for the most professional of meditators, it is profoundly difficult to actually meditate. If you sit with your, I ask anyone who watches this video to sit on your own for 30 seconds with your eyes closed and try and think about nothing. I would put £10 million on the fact that you can't.
No,
it's impossible.
Yeah.
It's not what we cannot do it. And even if we think we're doing it, you just can't do it. When you start meditating, the whole object, or the purpose of meditation, is that you start to notice those thoughts happening. You start to notice that you're thinking. You're no longer just walking through life, just bumping into emotions and falling into experience. You notice what it is that's in front of you. So this is where people think that they're sort of good or bad meditators, is they think, oh, I can't listen to the breath for more than 2 before I start wondering whether I've paid my taxes. That's the point of meditation. Then it's the reset. So you have that point of focus to start. When you feel that focus go away, which you won't feel straight away, you can go 5 minutes, you can go 10 minutes longer without even realising that you're thinking about something you shouldn't be thinking about. At that very point, you bring yourself back to the breath. Okay. You notice, and that's as simple as it is. You don't have to do anything complex. You just notice in your head, you go, shouldn't be thinking about that. And you just bring it back. And you will do that thousands of times over your duration of meditation.
You know, I'll give it a try. I'm going to do it because you've kind of influenced me, because I did think about it the other day just because I saw a video on it and I saw like the positives of it. And I was like, you know what? Like, obviously you see these videos and you're like, people could be like just completely like lying and be like, I'm going to try it. And I'll probably do the same one as you, because obviously you're...
I would like to make a point of that. Just
to start, or should I start a different one?
Say again?
Like, should I start on your meditation?
No. I'm going to make a point of that, because I think this is something that I want a lot of people to hear. Mm-hmm. Sam Harris, on a whole scale, is a marvellous person for you to start looking into and being interested in. But he's got an app called Waking Up. Yeah. So Waking Up is a meditation app. It comes with various other sort of... podcasty type bits, and it's a wonderful app, and it's free. Now, Sam believes that no one should be withheld from the value of meditation or information by a price tag. So though the subscription itself costs money, you can send an email to Waking Up asking for a free scholarship. You get 6 months free, no questions asked. They 100% deliverance. They will not ever refuse them. They've abided by that through all time. So you send over that, which in itself, it's hard to come across good meditation apps. So one that has the potential to be free, unless you want to pay money for it, is fantastic. Now that takes away one of the things that people go, oh, I'm not going to meditate, I can't find a good app. Use this one. Waking Up is fantastic. When you open up Waking Up, it will come up with a beginner's course. Just go through the beginner's course. Yeah, okay. At which point, once you've done that, I think I don't actually know how long it is. I think it might be a week, but I don't actually know. I haven't done it for a while. At which point, then you'll come up with a daily meditation. It'll be on the front screen. Just go for it. You can do various other ones. You can do walking meditations. You can do meditations for specific emotions. You can do loads. There's loads. The point I want to make really evident here is meditation provides you with a sort of assertion of control in your life that you otherwise wouldn't have. It makes you just feel the world more. You're not just coasting through. You feel things more and you understand better. And this is the thing, is you think much clearer. You can because you spend, it's like anything.
Yeah, how long is it? How long do you spend?
You can spend as long as you want. Now, I started with 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a good place for people to start. I went up to 20 minutes. I found 20 minutes was somewhat hit and miss. I think it would be far more hit now. I think now I could probably do more like half an hour, really. But I do 15 minutes because I know that with 15 minutes... I know I can go. There's no reason for you not to do that. You can find 15 minutes. You know, you can make that time. Yeah. If you do an hour, it's much easier for you to go. It's hard. Yeah. That being said, I would recommend for everyone that at some point you just sit in a room for an hour and do nothing. Just stare at a wall and see what comes up. You'll have some very interesting thoughts.
Yeah. I've never done that, I don't think.
It's interesting. You won't have. Unless you know you have, you won't have.
Yeah, I don't think I've done that.
And... the point is with meditation is it really makes you feel in control of your life. Now, don't get me wrong, life still happens. You still can't control the inevitable external factors, but you become much better at thinking about things. You become much more appreciative of the world that is around you because you see the world that's around you. I would wage money on the fact that the me who goes on a walk now and notices the birds singing and notices the rays of sun, notices
the luxury that is just going for a walk in a free place with your dog. I would wage money that that version of me post meditation and the version of me who would go on that walk thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, I gotta walk the dog, are worlds apart in terms of happiness. And as I say, meditation is the unsung hero for me and a lot of people, that when you just dedicate that time, it's you might not necessarily see the value of meditating whilst you're meditating, but you will see it when you're not. You notice the day to day, and that's the important part with meditating. Is people sort of corner it off as like, I meditate at this time and then I live my day. Meditation props you up to experience the rest of the world. They're not two separate things. I would urge you and anyone who listens to this to go on YouTube and just type in Sam Harris meditation, and just listen to what he has to say on it.
Because, and he tells you like what to think and what to...
Yes, Sam will take it through. Sam's a fantastic guide for this. So go on the Play Store or app, whatever, and get the Waking Up app. Waking Up, Waking Up, Waking Up, Waking Up.
Okay, I'll get it.
Go on YouTube at any point if you would like to, and just listen to Sam talk about it, because it's a wonderful thing, and particularly for you as well, because you've got that drive and that initiative to work towards something. If you could add that sort of composure, I suppose.
I think that's what it is. Like, I think I come across as a very kind of, I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm a very understanding but kind of chill. I come across very chill. So like a lot of people say that, like, you're a chill, you're a nice guy, like you're the nicest guy I know, this, that. I get told that, and it's nice to hear. But then up there, it's not like, it's very cluttered, I think.
Yes.
Like, very kind of so much going on. Like, what am I going to do now? Like, how am I going to get to this place that I want to get to? Probably a lot of people think the same way. Maybe I'm like similar to a lot of people, but it's not relaxed. As much as I might come across as a relaxed person, it's not. It's very kind of, chaotic. You're thinking about, that's the word, like, very chaotic. You're just thinking about anything but constantly. It's never kind of a relaxed time. And that's just me being honest, but as a person, like, it comes out, it's not fake, because it's just how I like to be. I like to understand people. I like to see how people think. I think that's what you probably are, like a similar type of person, is in, like, you're talking to someone and someone does something, like an action that you don't like, or that you do like, and you're like, they're thinking about what they're doing. They're still human. They're still thinking about what they're doing in the moment, and I know that they're thinking that. So it's about being an understanding person. I think that might just be me completely overthinking, but people do things for reasons. So I think meditation might help declutter that, or kind of help my mind become less chaotic, probably. Because as much as I come across as a chill kind of guy out there, chaos, mate. It's just thinking of, well, one, thinking about how I'm going to be successful, thinking of how or when I'm going to get there. It's not if, because sometimes you think if, because it's like obviously I want to become the best version, like a lot of people, best version of yourself, but the most successful a person can be. Obviously loads of people are thinking about that, but I think coming across as just that chill person is just my kind of character, and just, it's not like what my mind's thinking. So I just want people to know that, like, even if you are like a chill person to people, or even a chaotic person or an angry person or what, it's all probably because of how your mind is up there, like how chaotic it is. So meditation, you can tell me if that helps, because
absolutely does.
I'm gonna try it, because I did say it. Like, it wasn't a joke, like I said earlier, but it was like a little kind of, Dad, I'm gonna start it, and he's like, what? Gonna meditate, like actually meditate, and I was like, I don't know, just see. I'll do some research into it, because I've seen some really good things about it. So probably give it a go.
do give it a
I
go.
will, yeah.
Meditation, I would say, just to wrap this up, is it's like opening a closet that is full of shit. Now, you've known that for all of time, that closet is going to burst at some point, and all of that crap's going to come flying out exactly when I don't want it to. Meditation is like opening up that closet and seeing all of that stuff fall out, but realizing that you can pick it up and you can sort it out. You can put the stuff where it needs to go. You can rearrange that issue. I think it's just opening up to your own mind. I think.
Yeah, that's good, because I think a lot of people have a lot of issues. Like,
yeah, but and they're always there,
yeah.
you know, and people think it's what you see is all there is. No, if that shit's going on back there in your head at all times of day, if you ignore it, it doesn't go away. It gets worse. Meditation affords you that time to go, I can look at this and I can control this and I can help myself here. Meditation is absolutely critical for that. I think if you take anything away from this, it is to meditate, honestly.
I'll do that, yeah.
Meditation is a wonderful thing.
What I've also realised, taken away from this, is how much I've... By you asking me to come on to this podcast, I would never... I don't think before, like, obviously, because, like, if it were a random person I was to come on the podcast, obviously I know you, so I'd be like, yeah. It's made me realise that I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people, understanding people, but it would be something that I never thought I would have done, in a way. Like, I'd be like, what? Like, why did I talk on... Like, I'm not the best. I'm very comfortable talking to people that I know, but, like, talking to people and then putting it on social media, like, or just talking to myself on a video, I'm not that good at it. Like,
You've been fantastic today.
well, thanks, but I think it's because I'm comfortable with you, but comfortable with, like, if it was a random person talking to me, I'd be like, oh, I don't know what, I'm just going to be waffling here, but it's made me realise that I quite enjoy talking on a podcast, because it's just like, yeah, it's just good.
Good.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come back whenever you like.
Well, yeah, no, I'd happily talk about loads of topics.
Good. I'm glad. I have to say I'm glad. I'm gonna, on that note, I would like to say this has been more than what I thought it would be in terms of enjoyment. I knew coming into this, I thought this is going to be a very interesting talk, because I know that your mind is shaped and oriented in a way in which your goals of striving towards the appropriate things to strive towards, having a strong work ethic, being someone who is determined, disciplined, and ferocious in their desire to improve and create something from themselves. I knew this was going to be an interesting talk with you, and that has exceeded expectation beyond the point. I have to say I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Well, likewise, because you've got a very, as much as you said that about me, like all the like ferocious kind of mentality, you've got the same. You've got the same kind of, you've got the same way of thinking as me. I'm pretty sure. Like when I just talk to you, I feel like I feel like the exact same. I'm getting like similar kind of thoughts that you're getting, and it's just like, yeah, it's just easy to talk to, because we have the same kind of ambitions, I think.
I think you're right there, sir.
Yeah.
With that being said, I shall thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome to come on whenever you like, and you shall be getting another invite soon enough.
Yeah, thank you.
My good sir, I shall let the cameras roll. Thank you very much.
See ya.
Yeah.